You good? We'll call to order the Thursday, September 12th City Commission meeting. First item on the agenda would be the August 22nd minutes. Any changes?
I have none.
Stand as written. Next item on the agenda, reorganization of government body, and take a motion for nomination of mayor.
I move to nominate Sandy Jacobs as mayor.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Motion by Commissioner Reuter, second by Commissioner Barrick. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It would be a nomination of vice mayor.
I nominate Mason Reuter.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jacobs, second by Commissioner Cunningham. Wow, it's about time for me to leave. So, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0.
You want to talk, or you want me to talk first?
I'll talk real quick and
Go
get
right
over
ahead.
with. So, I just
He will cry.
no, I'm not going to do it this year. Not this year. And Heather, you don't even get a hug this year. Sorry.
He said, thank you, God.
Wow.
So, no, you know, it's been being mayor for 16 months is a long time, but it's very rewarding. It's great to be part of everything that we as a group have helped achieve in this community. And I've worked with a lot of commissioners, but this team has created a lot of good for this community. And just thank you guys for everything we've done. And, we have difference in opinions, but at the end of the day, I feel like we get a lot done, and it's because we're a good team, and I appreciate that, guys. And I'm ready, though, to move on, and I'm ready for you to be mayor. It's great to serve here, and it's fun, but it's got a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, and it's fun to just. We all vote equally as always, but it's fun to be the mayor, to go to all the different places, but it's a lot at times. And many of you guys, when I've been gone for my kids' stuff or family vacations, you've actually every single one of you have filled in for me on different things. So thank you guys for doing that. But other than that, I just want to thank the community for allowing me to be mayor and sit up here. It's rewarding, and it's something you can never forget that you got to do. And it was a lot better in 2020. That's all I know. So.
Very good way to end that one.
Absolutely.
I'd like to say just a few words about Mayor Musil. Now, see, I would cry. I'm sorry.
Am I going to do it?
We have become really good friends over the last 7 years, and I have so much respect for him. And I asked Andrea to put some stuff together that this body has done during his last term. And, guys, we have been busy. We have 4 pages of things that have happened while Sean's been mayor. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of them because they were not necessarily controversial, but they required more of you, and some of them involved you. So you were part of the establishment of the common consumption area, and that was interesting because that was part of your company as well. The ordinance allowing golf carts on public streets. We all took a few calls on those. Compensation of city commission and mayor. That was a subject that all of us had probably had some conversations about, but the mayor always gets more than one. The Grow Hayes request for the community center. The commitment of the city to make $1 million commitment to that community center was a really big deal, and you led us through that really well. The 27th and Main Street addition and the final plat, that was really exciting. Rezoning that property, and then neighborhood, that whole area up there, and then working with the purchase of 27th and Main with Astra Bank. Our police department will go where Astra is, and Astra will go at 27th and Main, which is going to be a great addition to that corner. We had really some fun things happen, and some honorable things happen with Jack Sample's donated funds that he had for our fire department. That was a really big deal. The advanced metering structure, that was all done while you were mayor, and it's in the process of being done right now, and it's pretty exciting for the community. A lot of people are going to have a lot more time. The Law Enforcement Center and Dispatch Agreement, along with Chief Scheibler, you handled that whole process and handled it very well. And you're continually involved with the R9 transfer proceedings and presentations. So we're extremely proud of you. We know that you liked what you did. You're ready to move on. It gets kind of quiet down at that end of the table, though.
I'm okay with that.
We have something on behalf of the City of Hayes. Oh, you've got it. I was going to say, Andrea, have it back here. On behalf of the City of Hayes, I'd like to honor you with this plaque, your term of mayor from May of 23 to September of 24. Okay, there. Doesn't feel any different when you move a chair.
Is that the right name? No name prints are harmed during this transition.
Thank you.
Are we good, Andrea? We're good, okay. Next item on the agenda is citizen comments. Any citizens here? Oh, no, we're doing Mrs. Ritter first. Yes, Ruth Ritter is coming forward with citizen comment.
Okay,
But
so on behalf of Golden Plains Credit Union,
I'm going to come around.
yes, love you too, Sandy. We have an opportunity of places in our communities. So each one of our communities of Golden Plains are located in 13 locations. We're able to give funds to different organizations. I know the City of Hayes isn't necessarily an organization, but we feel the funds would be best fit at this time. So we picked two organizations. One was one I'm very passionate about, of Women Who Lead. So I'm president of that organization. The other was the City of Hayes. I know of some comments that have been made about different things that it could be used for that the city doesn't have funds for. So today I'd like to award the City of Hayes a check for $13,000 from Golden Plains.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Wow.
Thank you Ruth, thank you so much. I think this is earmarked and it's going to be well spent. Thank you so much. You want to take your check back?
I give Kim the real check.
The real check. Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
Ruth.
big check department.
Bigger drive-up window.
Yeah, you need a bigger drive up.
Any additional citizen comments? Go ahead. Up there and introduce yourself, sir. Even though we all know you.
My name's John Pyle, here in Hayes. I'm here to request the City Commission give real hard consideration to maintaining revenue neutral. Been to the school board, county, and now you, to give you some information. Back in '20, my property taxes were $3,964. Last year, they were $5,442, and according to the paper that I just got from our county treasurer over there, looks like my tax is going to go up to $5,724. So from $3,900 to $5,724. Probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you. I know your taxes went up too, but unlike you, I don't get raises. I'm not working. I'm retired. My wife's retired. We're on a fixed income. So we see our taxes not really creeping. They took some big jumps, but anyway, they're creeping. So you talk about creeping taxes. We would like for you to consider putting the brakes on your end. In looking at the income that the city has made off of taxes the last few years, you're getting quite an increase. Went from $6,577,000 to $7,451,000, and that was current year. That's 1 year, and then the next year. What I'd also like to mention to you is I've been to 3 different groups in the last month talking about trying to show up to talk about revenue neutral. And I don't know if this is going to surprise you or not, but the people that I was talking to had a common comment to me. Why the hell go to those meetings, John? They're going to do what they want to do, and they don't listen to anybody in the public. So, I don't know if you guys are in a big financial crunch and have to have these big increases or not. I'm sure you're about to explain that to us. But you need to really consider what I heard from 3 different groups here in town. Thanks.
Appreciate you coming, John. Thank you. Anyone else in?
I'm Bernie Hazlor, lifelong resident of Hayes, and I'm here in the same subject as John, revenue neutral. So far, I've been to the BOE and the county meetings, expressed our concerns about taxing housing as high as it's been going. Thing is, that isn't the only thing that's increasing. Also, every time you raise the evaluation, insurance goes up proportionately. So I have seen a $2,000 increase in just the last year between insurance and property tax. And I, like John, retired, Social Security, so I'm not seeing a big increase in my pay in any way. And I implore you to please adhere to revenue neutral. Both of the other bodies so far I've spoken to, they both voted to exceed. I'm hoping that you don't, because we really need to take the line on this and control it. It's way out of hand. It's probably not hurting the working people as much, but there are a lot of people working day to day on paychecks, so it's going to affect them probably about like it does senior citizens. So that's the only thing I have to say. I hope you will consider this in your vote as to how you vote on the revenue neutral. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. Thanks for coming. Anyone else in citizen comments? We'll move on in the agenda. We have the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda, items A through D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have City Commission Rules of Procedure, the update to the UTV ordinance, cereal malt beverage licensing for the Hampton Inn, and cereal malt beverage licensing for the Volga Germans. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Item 6, the R9 BRIC Direct Technical Assistance Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU. Mr. Brown.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am John Brown, the R9 Project Manager, and I'm here to talk to you about a memorandum of understanding regarding a technical assistance program by FEMA. So I'll just kind of quickly go through some of the acronyms that'll be used throughout the presentation. FEMA falls under the Department of Homeland Security. FEMA is the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities is the program with the acronym BRIC. And what we have received is direct technical assistance. So henceforth, we will refer to this program as BRIC DTA. In our efforts to seek funding for the R9 Wellfield and Pipeline project, staff applied for and was selected to receive the BRIC DTA grant. This non-financial assistance program provides wide-ranging technical assistance to communities to undertake hazard mitigation solutions, which in the case of the cities of Hayes and Russell is drought mitigation through the development of the R9 Wellfield. City staff is requesting that the governing body consider authorizing the mayor to sign a non-legally binding memorandum of understanding that defines the responsibilities of FEMA and the city of Hayes. Just a little bit of background, we submitted the application in February. We were selected to participate in July, and in August, we had a welcome meeting with FEMA. This map shows the locations of the BRIC DTA awardees in FEMA Region 7, which includes Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, and Iowa. As you can see, Hayes was the only awardee in Kansas this round. Before FEMA can provide technical assistance, a memorandum of understanding must be signed. The MOU included in your packet is a non-legally binding agreement between FEMA and the city of Hayes. The purpose of the MOU is to provide a framework for the collaboration of FEMA and the city of Hayes to carry out their respective roles and responsibilities. Under the MOU, FEMA agrees, among other things, to partner with the city of Hayes for up to 36 months to identify needs, build partnerships, and deliver wide-ranging technical assistance based on the BRIC DTA action plan. The city of Hayes agrees, among other things, to invite FEMA to work collaboratively with the city to maximize the achievement of their climate resiliency and hazard mitigation goals, specifically drought mitigation as it relates to the R9 project. The process began with a welcome call on August 13th, which was attended by all the recipients in Region 7 that was on the previous map. The next step was an individual planning meeting that took place last week. The City of Russell was involved in that planning meeting, as well as staff from Hayes and representatives from FEMA Region 7 out of Kansas City, and also our engineer, Burns and McDonald, was in attendance at that meeting as well. The next step is to execute the Memorandum of Understanding, which is the action under consideration this afternoon. Once the MOU is executed, we will schedule an on-site meeting with Region 7 staff and the local BRIC DTA team, which does include city staff and our consultant and staff from Russell, and that will be here in Hayes. Probably take a field trip down to the R9 so they can see what's going on there. And then after the on-site visit, the remainder of the services will be provided by FEMA Region 7 by way of virtual meetings. Again, the goal of this technical assistance program is to assist the cities of Hayes and Russell in preparing and submitting a grant application that would hopefully result in a monetary grant to assist in funding the construction of a pipeline and other improvements to ultimately get water from the R9 to Hayes and Russell. Financially, this is a non-financial program. Any financial assistance from FEMA would only be available through a separate application and award process. The MOU in no way guarantees that there will be a separate agreement for financial assistance or reimbursement of any kind. So the options are to authorize the mayor to sign the MOU or provide other direction to city staff. And the action for your consideration is on the screen, and I would stand for any questions.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the Memorandum of Understanding between the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the City of Hayes, Kansas.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Reuter and seconded by Commissioner Musil. Any discussion? It's a quiet bunch
I think
today.
it's, we're checking some boxes to help make sure that our application gets the appropriate attention that it needs. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Very good. Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, John. Item 7 on the agenda is the Uniform Public Offense Code for Kansas Cities. Chief Scheibler.
Good afternoon, Don Scheibler, Chief of Police for the Hayes Police Department. You're being asked to consider adopting by ordinance the updated version of the 2024 Uniform Public Offense Code, also referred as the UPOC, and the 2024 Standard Traffic Ordinances for use within the city of Hayes. This could be a long presentation. I'm trying to speed this up a little bit. The League publishes revised version of these books, and the changes are presented to the Commission annually. These books are designed to provide comprehensive laws for Kansas communities, and for the most part, they parallel state traffic and criminal codes. The overwhelming majority of both books remain the same from year to year, and only a few changes have been made. Handout has been prepared, noting the additions and/or changes that were made in 2024. These handouts have been included with the work session material. In the UPOC, once it changed with Section 9.1, disorderly conduct, the portion of this section that made engaging in noisy conduct tending reasonably to arouse alarm, anger, resentment, and others a violation of the law has been removed. Kansas Supreme Court ruled this portion of the section was unconstitutional. They thought it was overly broad and included too many things potentially that are guaranteed by your First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. So that has been removed from the ordinance. In the UPOC, all the sections related to drugs, a section had been added allowing for immunity from prosecution for simple possession of drugs and drug paraphernalia when rendering aid to overdose victims. To be eligible for a person must do the following to help an overdose victims. They must stay on scene, cooperate with law enforcement and EMS, provide their full name and other information needed for treatment, and again, remain at the scene with the person needing the assistance. Immunity does not apply if it happens while serving a search warrant or arrest warrant, or the quantity of drugs found at the scene shows an intent to distribute. So we're talking simple possession here. drug dealers who are selling drugs or distributing drugs, this would not apply to them. This law puts the value of human life over that of a drug arrest and provides us with another important rule to help, tool to help keep our kids safe from drug overdoses. The only change to the STO was how they deal with people who fail to comply with their traffic citation. This was done at the state level. The current procedure ends December 31st of this year, and this new procedure will take place. These changes reform how the court deals with a person that fails to comply, and they will reduce driver license suspensions, will restrict more license and driving to suspending them, which will allow them to continue to participate in the neighborhood, go to work, take the kids to school, do things like that. There's also some changes in here in reinstatement. And once their license has been restricted or suspended, they have to pay a reinstatement fee. Under the current law, they have to pay a reinstatement fee for each citation. So if you got arrested for DUI on a Friday night, there's 5 tickets attached to that DUI, and your license was suspended, you would have to pay up to $500 just in reinstatement fees alone. They have reduced that down to only 1 reinstatement fee. So again, this is a benefit to people. This received overwhelming support in Topeka, so this is a good thing. Commission has the following options: adopt the ordinances, update in the UPOC and the STO, decline the adopt the ordinances, provide other direction of the city staff. 2 actions are requested here. The first one is for the UPOC. I'd stand for questions if you have any.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 4059, adopting the 2024 version of the Uniform Public Offense Code for use within the city of Hayes.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Musil, seconded by Commissioner Barrick. Any questions or discussion?
My only question for you, are you okay with what your police officers deal with? Are you comfortable with all these?
These changes?
Yeah.
Absolutely. These are all good changes.
Okay, good.
Some of these we expected, and some we argued for.
Sure.
So,
Good.
a mistake on Friday night in a DUI shouldn't create a financial burden that's almost impossible to get out of. There's got to be consequences for your actions, and I support that.
Sure.
But we got to make sure we're being reasonable about that too.
I respect that.
This is for number 8, action requested for the STO.
I move to approve ordinance number 4060, adopting the 2024 version of the standard traffic ordinance for use within the city of Hayes.
Second.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
I was just going to let him get it on. We need to vote on the first
Oh.
one. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
That was Reese and Elena on the second one.
Elena, I didn't hear the second, okay. All right, on the STO, any discussion or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'm going to open a public hearing for the establishment of a rural housing incentive district for the Grove. Deputy City Manager Colin Belser.
Good afternoon, Colin Belzer, Deputy City Manager. So to present this item, it's regarding an ordinance to establish an RHID and adopting a development plan for the Grove. So Grow Hayes has proposed a planned development that will be retiree-focused, located just north of Hayes Med, and it's envisioned to include 12 sixplexes, 8 duplexes, 50 single-family homes, and a community senior daycare center. Grow Hayes is requesting the usage of a reinvestment housing incentive district to fund the project's improvements. An RHID is a state program that's designed to help developers in building housing, and it captures the incremental property tax off the improvements for up to 25 years, which then can reimburse the developer for eligible project costs, which are pretty much hard costs: streets, water lines, sewer lines, etc. Not the actual houses, but the infrastructure to serve the homes. Here's an image of the RHID district. The reason why it seems so large is because a part of this project will be to extend a 1-mile connector from the juncture of 22nd Street and the existing Hayes Med path north to Sternberg Museum. So obviously the Grove is included in there, and that's the primary bulk of the infrastructure, but this is included because we'll just be connecting an improved trail to reach Sternberg. So ideally in 2026, you'll be able to walk from the bypass at 41st Street all the way to Hayes Rec on the other side with our other trail project that will be going on. The developer is proposing the city finance and construct the infrastructure utilizing the RHID revenues to offset the city costs. Eligible project costs are estimated to be approximately $8.2 million. However, the development is estimated to generate approximately $8.452 million over the 25-year term. So in addition to that, at a later date, we would come back with a development agreement to be negotiated and executed between the City of Hayes and the developer, Grow Hayes. We anticipate the remaining bullet points to be part of that development agreement, which would be an escrow account would be established and lot sale proceeds and Midwest Energy reimbursement payments would be available for the city debt service. The excess lot sale profits will be split between the city and Grow Hayes. And if the development doesn't generate sufficient increment after 6 years, the city would have the option to take ownership of all the undeveloped lots. Here's the calendar. We are at September 12th. It started all the way back in the spring. It does take some time to get through these processes. Tonight is the final action required by the commission to create the RHID. However, as previously stated, there will be a development agreement coming later, assuming that the USD 489 Board of Education or the Ellis County Board of County Commissioners do not adopt a resolution within the next 30 days opposing the RHID. So if that does not happen by October 15th, it should be created and ready to go. And we have not heard anything from any of those entities about this. The commission has the following options: adopt the ordinance, decline to adopt the ordinance, or provide other direction to city staff. And here's the action.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4061 to establish a reinvestment housing incentive district and adopting a plan for the development. Sorry, you need to close this first.
Yes.
I'll stop.
I never want to stop somebody
No,
right in the middle of their speaking.
I got it.
Before I ask for a motion to close, are there any comments, either from the audience or from the commission?
I have a question. Now, there's one property still in that there. What happens to it? That people are still living there, right?
Doug Williams, Executive Director of Grow Hayes. In reference to the property, I think you're talking about the property that the McGinnis family owns.
I believe that's it.
We have acquired that property with the condition that she can stay for up to 2 years. That clock started in May, so they're renting the property.
Does it get torn down and thrown into the rest of it?
Yes, that's the plan. Anything else?
Okay. It's curiosity.
You have acquired it?
Yes.
Okay. At fair market value, there wasn't any eminent domain or any of that stuff?
No. It was a negotiation between our organization and the family.
Okay.
And fair market value. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Any other comments? If not, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Reuter, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham to close the public meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we can take a motion on the ordinance.
I'll move to adopt ordinance number 4061 to establish a reinvestment housing incentive district and adopting a plan for the development of housing and public facilities in the district, The Grove.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Reuter. Discussion, questions?
We've been looking forward to it for a while. And-
Time to turn some dirt.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, I'll open the public hearing for the revenue neutral public hearing. Hearing is open. Colin Belser, presentation.
Good afternoon, Colin Belzer, Deputy City Manager. So wanted to present the highlights of the 2025 budget. So off the bat, the budget is balanced. We are projecting that 2024 sales tax revenue will be below what we budgeted in 2024, as we know. There's been some lagging sales tax, so we're projecting that'll end 1.4% below what we budgeted for this year. But in order to create the 25 budget, we are projecting that sales tax will increase 2% over those new projections. So we're being cautiously optimistic. Assessed valuation is up 4.2%. This budget does include a program step at 2% and a COLA 3% for all city employees. And there's also the addition of 7 full-time equivalent positions. One is in the city manager's office. That's the PR manager position that was requested by the city commission. Also at the airport, a foreman will be hired to assist with the new schedule and increased FAA regulations. A part-time position was eliminated in exchange for this. There'll also be a shared position split between solid waste and stormwater that will be full-time equivalent. And like the airport, this is a part-time position was eliminated. And then there are 4 police officer positions that are being added. However, these positions are actually being paid for. The police department has had, unfortunately, some turnover the last few years in all law enforcement, so that's been going on. So we've constantly been having more officers that we've had to, pay for because it just rotates so much. So there'll be a little impact to our actual budget with these actually coming on board for the 16th consecutive year. This budget does propose a flat levy at 25 mils, and the reserves are funded. We wanted to go through the general fund. So the general fund is estimated to be just under $18.2 million in revenue. Now, the general fund pretty much provides all the services you think of that a city does: police, fire, parks, street maintenance, city hall. As you can see and as you know, we don't levy a property tax for the general fund. Our bread and butter is the sales tax, and that's at 63% of that revenue comes from that source. Speaking of sales tax, I always like to show the pull factor report. This is provided by the state, and I've gone back a couple years. So if you're not familiar, pull factor is a ratio between spending and population. And it's used to measure one's retail economy. If you have a number 1, that means that everyone in your community is shopping in your community. You're not losing anybody, but you're not gaining anybody. If you're above 1, people from outside your city are coming to shop. And if you're below 1, people are leaving your community to shop. In 2023, which was the most recent report from the state, Hayes had a pull factor of 1.49. You might notice it's a significant drop from the 1.74 to the 1.49. But I'll also point out Marion, which is always at the top, went from 4.92 to 4.11. So I did inquire with the state, and the reason for that significant drop is, 1, sales tax on groceries has gone away, so there's no longer sales tax being collected to go into the calculation of how much sales tax is obviously being, sales are happening. And then we also know that sales tax here locally is lagging, so that's probably also a factor of why we dropped. As you can tell, we bounce around every year. So, but we still are the 6th highest, I read that count right, 6th highest pull factor in the state, constantly one of the top. To maybe explain Merriam, in case you're not aware, it's an inner ring suburb of Kansas City, about 11,000 people. They have over a million square feet of retail space with the Home Depot and all those type of stores, and then they also have IKEA.
IKEA's in there.
So everyone outside 11,000 people outside that town are going to Merriam. So that's why their pull factor is so large. Our sales tax ranking, currently Hayes has a total sales tax of 9.25%. And here's how we stack up against 32 other communities that I compared. Tried to get some of, obviously the bigger ones and more comparable ones. We're pretty much middle of the pack, but we got Wichita in there, Great Bend, Garden City, Dodge City. They're all about 9%. At least Dodge City is. Salina's at 9.25% like us. But if you go all the way to Olathe, you're at 9.475%. And this is your standard sales tax. This has no CIDs or anything on it. This is just what you expect the city to levy. General fund expenditures, our operating expenditures, or total expenditures, I should say, are estimated just be under 18 million, but our operating expenditures are much lower at 15.8 million. You can kind of see a breakdown of how those general fund expenditures are made. General government, there's things like HR, IT, city manager's office, public safety, obviously the big one, fire and police, 32%, parks, intergovernmental account, in case you're curious, that's like our gas bill, our electric bill, things that everyone has to pay for. Now this is, again, no property taxes used in the general fund. So this is primary sales tax. The reason city commission is so high at 13% is simply because we have that commission capital reserve philosophy. So what that is the difference between the total and operating expenditures, the 18 million and the 15.8, that's roughly 2.2 million. Of that 2.2 million, we estimate 1.2 of that is the Ellis County sales tax that we've been using to fund projects, most recently the fire station. And then we also have a policy to put away 25% of our operating expenditures, so we'll have to transfer about 155,000 to that. That leaves 850,000 that will go into your commission capital reserve account that you can use to pay for cash for the big projects that we do, like road reconstruction projects. So we're not borrowing debt for those if we don't have to. Now the general fund expenditures are going up about 575,000. Primary driver at 515,000 are the personnel changes, additions, and the COLA step increase. Again, this has nothing to do with property tax yet. Speaking of the commission capital reserves, in 25 we'll be doing improvements to 32nd, 33rd from Willow to Vine. That's scheduled for next year. The project's currently under design and we should be ready to go out to bid late 24 for award early 25 and construction next year. This is primarily a remove and replace, no major changes, just upgrading, the concrete, the pavement. And 1.8 million is earmarked, paid for in cash through the commission capital reserve. We'll also be earmarked a little over 1.5 million for some HVAC upgrades to the City Hall building, the Parks Department building, and Public Works building. This is obviously something that will eventually happen, the deferred maintenance, so we need to update that so it doesn't get more expensive. And in terms of notable equipment from the general fund, it's pretty standard equipment, 4 mowers, a truck. Really probably the most interesting upgrade is the purchase of a new salt brine production system, which they use for snow and ice removal. Right now, Public Works utilizes a system that was built in-house that's 22 years old, and it can produce 1,000 gallons per hour. This new automated one will be able to produce 6,000 gallons per hour, obviously making snow and ice removal more efficient. It's more automation, so currently the old system that was built in-house takes 6 hours to clean because it's all manually. This new system will take about 15 minutes to clean.
Wow.
So now into the levy funds, things that get a property tax levy. It's roughly 7.7 million in total ad valorem taxes requested. Here's the breakdown of the chart of the funds that do get property tax. I'll highlight, as I always do, 27% is to the Hayes Library. So 24% for the library, and then they get 3% of that. 25 mils for their employee benefit program. That was a charter ordinance done a long time ago. So to operate the city of Hayes, it's really 18 mils that is financing the city of Hayes. The largest levied expense is employee benefits. That's primarily health insurance, like Social Security, workman's comp. We do anticipate an increase in health insurance rates, renewal rates this year. That'll be coming to you shortly. But also, I'd like to point out, retirement plans are included in that employee benefit levy. The state controls the rate of what CAPERS and KPF, what we have to pay, what a city has to pay into that. And it's going up 2% next year. So that's about roughly 1/3 of a mil that's going to impact is because of the state requiring a higher contribution. As I mentioned, for the 16th consecutive year, the mill levy has remained flat. Mill levy is a tax rate that's applied to the assessed value of a property. So 1 mil equals $1 per $1,000 of assessed value. As we know, if the mill levy stays flat, property taxes could still go up because assessed valuation can go up. Conversely, if assessed valuation goes down and the mill levy stays right, the property tax will go down. Here's a distribution of how a person's property tax bill in Hayes is distributed. 21% of a typical tax bill does fund the city of Hayes operations. I always like to put kind of in perspective just interesting facts. How does the city of Hayes rank when you compare us to the 122 first and second class cities across Kansas? Currently, we're the 12th lowest. This chart up here just shows 40 of those 122 communities, because 122 communities includes Goodland, Larned, I think. I mean, there's some other ones, Hoisington, Russell. So I tried to, again, show the cities that are a little bit bigger, more comparable to us. To give you an idea where some of those rank when it comes to city, Lawrence out of the 122 is number 23, Dodge City 28, Garden City 31, Emporia 51, Manhattan 62, Pittsburgh 67, Liberal 73, and Newton 108. And I also think it's important to point out not every city's mill levy is the same. Not every city has a commercial airport like Hayes where you can get on a United Airlines and fly. We have to levy for that. That's a service we provide. Not all cities of those 122 do that. Then when you look at total ranking, so when you get your tax bill and it includes, the school district, the county, et cetera, again, among those 122 communities, we have the 12th lowest among the first and second class cities. This is the same communities I compared last time. And to give you an idea, I guess, how it bounces around, if you were in Garden City, your total tax bill is number 58 out of the 122. If you're in Dodge, it's 82. Manhattan's 33. I'm happy to compare whatever you need. So one of the funds we do levy for is the airport. Roughly 1.3 million in operating expenditures will go towards the facility next year. As noted earlier, we are eliminating a part-time position and replacing it with a full-time position. And the notable project next year will be the reconstruction of the crosswind runway and taxiway intersection. The runway is about 20 years old and has shown areas of distress. The estimated project cost for the city is $337,000, and the FAA will pay $6.4 million. Typically, this is a 90-10 share, but recent federal legislation actually made this a 95.5% share. So we did get some relief, but that's only for the next 2 years. Then it's going to go back to 90-10. I think but the airport is responding well to the new flight schedule. We're breaking records. However, the FAA is increasing in its regulatory environment, and the demands needed to facilitate commercial service are growing. The influx of federal money the last few years that we received did help the airport a lot, but it really just bought us more time. That fund is unsustainable, and in 26, or at least next year, for the budget in 26, staff will propose a mill levy increase for that fund in order to get it sustainable. Public safety equipment, total expenditures are $675,000 roughly. The goal of this fund is to incur no debt, provide necessary equipment for our police and fire fighters. By statute, we can only levy 2 mills for the public safety equipment. And it's pretty plain equipment right here, just some admin vehicles, a couple police vehicles, a pickup for animal control, and in addition to the vehicles, just some tools such as fire hoses, pagers, laptops for the police vehicles. Another fund that we levy for is the bond and interest. So approximately $2.6 million will be needed to pay for the city's debt service requirements in 25. A portion of this debt service is not property tax related. It's housing developments that are being special assessed. So that's not a property tax debt. So that is part of in that $2.6 million. New projects that are not fully part of the bond and interest fund yet, but will soon be, is the $5 million budget to be spent to extend infrastructure to city-owned property at exit 161, and $8 million for a new police station and municipal court. Because responsible planning, these projects can be undertaken without increasing the mill levy if you choose. Our utility funds are next. So Water Resources has taken an aggressive approach to improving the city's water system over the last few years. Since 2017, they've replaced nearly 5 miles of water line at a cost of $4.3 million. And the Water Production Distribution Department will have its hands full in 25 with AMI replacement. So in 25, they're going to kind of step back and look at long-term plans. What can we do and review and prioritize for the future preventive capital maintenance needs? The notable project, so this is kind of how minor this department, Water Resources, will be going next year. The big project is we're going to improve a parking lot in front of our area, roughly $130,000, and that will be split between water reclamation or the sewer and water. So each fund will pay $65,000. In the water reclamation and reuse, though, the department will continue its proactive maintenance. So our regular sanitary sewer cleaning and inspection at $150,000, and they also budgeted $70,000 for a tertiary filter media replacement. So this is a piece of equipment that ensures our effluent is best quality water for irrigation suitability. Currently, the piece of equipment we have uses a polyester fabric, but we want to upgrade to a stainless steel. And then the R9, this budget is funded with water sales tax collections. It was established this year is established in for the 24 budget to support the activities related to the development and operation of the R9 ranch. The notable project there is $70,000 for livestock, water wells, and fencing. So as we continue to convert the property to native grass, rotational grazing is important, and we want to maintain the health of that vegetation, so those projects are needed. The notable capital project, as everyone I think is aware, is related to R9, and $5 million has been earmarked for the water sales tax for a capital project to begin right-of-way acquisition for the pipeline currently under design. Our special highway fund, so that is funding that for street maintenance projects. That primarily comes from state and federal resources. The general fund does contribute about $200,000 to this budget. We're going to continue our proactive street maintenance program, and we'll return to you later this year with the plan for 2025. Over $1.1 million in preventive street maintenance projects is planned for next year. Special Parks and Rec is funded by 1/3 of the proceeds from the local alcohol liquor tax and transfers from the transient guest tax. State law requires that 1/3 of liquor tax be used for recreational services. Only alcoholic liquor sold in restaurants collects this tax, though. So if you want to support your local parks, it's one way to do it.
Absolutely.
In 2024, transient guest tax provided $75,000 in revenue to the Special Parks and Rec Fund. In 2025, that figure has been increased to $125,000. So this budget is dependent on the approval of a 1.25% increase to the city's transient guest tax, which would bring the total TGT transient guest tax rate in the city of Hayes to 8.25%. That increase will provide the additional $50,000 for the special parks, and then additional money for CVB, which I'll talk about in a second. This is needed to increase maintenance funding for the city's park and recreational facilities that both residents and visitors utilize. The notable project for 2025 will be the replacement of the playground unit at Massey Park. The current structure is 21 years old, will be 22 years old next year, and staff is actually unable to find replacement parts, so we've earmarked $120,000 for that piece of equipment.
Colin, do you have where you can show us where we're at with the
I can get that to you.
bed tax?
I can get that to you.
Just where we're at.
Where you
raising.
will be when it
Yeah.
goes, yeah, I can get that for
Okay,
you.
thank you.
For the Convention and Visitor Bureau, the CV markets the City of Hayes to visitors, and they also support attractions and special events. Currently, their operations are funded by a 5% transit guest tax. It's been that way for a while. There's an additional 2% for North Vine debt payments with the roundabout project. So approximately $420,000 of that 1.8 is going to pay for North Vine. The CB fund is unsustainable, therefore this budget is built on the expectation that the transient guest tax rate will go from 7% to 8.25%, and that will be coming to you shortly, so it can go into effect January. With the additional funding, the CB will increase its advertising budget by 36%, promotions by 18%, and ensure that reserves can continue to be funded. One reason why this could be considered important is because I went over the poll factor report not too long ago, and obviously getting more people into our community is important since we don't levy a property tax for the general fund operations. The notable project is we'll be upgrading the 15-year-old display sign that currently operates with outdated technology, and $45,000 has been earmarked for that. So the Stormwater Management Division, they oversee compliance with the city's federal and state storm sewer permits. These are obviously mandated things that the city must comply with, and the way this is funded is by monthly stormwater impact fees charged to all utility customers. In 25, the fund will pay for a new equipment storage building that will be utilized also by Public Works Service Division. There's some limited indoor storage capacity right now between those, and we're actually having to keep things like tractors, mowers, and dump trucks sitting outside. So we want to be able to house those equipment indoors and improve the equipment's reliability and lengthen the equipment's lifespan. So $300,000 has been set aside for that. For capital improvements, there's 14 projects in 2025 that are planned for $24.5 million. The big ticket items are the new police station at 8 million, 5 million for infrastructure to the city-owned property at exit 161, and 5 million for the R9 pipeline right-of-way acquisition. Right there's 18 million of that 24.5. 14 pieces of equipment for fleet, just totaling just under 1 million, will be replaced in 25. This is all paid in cash. There's no heavy equipment budgeted. This is primarily mowers, pickup trucks, admin vehicles. Really, the only specialty item is that salt brine mixture that I talked about. Last year, the city did start using Enterprise's fleet management program to lease administrative cars to see if that was a benefit to us. We tested it, but it's been determined not to be real advantageous, so we're gonna go back and paying for the vehicles outright moving forward, which is what we've done for many, many years. So staff has prepared the budget, keeping the levy at 25 mils, and received direction from the commission in early July to publish a notice to exceed the revenue neutral rate, which is 24.116 mils. Obviously, we'll have to have a public hearing, and then there's a resolution for your consideration up on the screen. After conducting the revenue neutral rate portion, the city commission must also hold a budget hearing and approve the budget. The resolution for the revenue neutral rate does have to be a roll call vote.
We're going to go through this step by step, guys. This is where we kind of have to follow a really good procedure. Thank you, Colin.
Do you have any questions for me
Oh,
before public?
No, I was going to ask for comments from the public.
good.
Okay. Any comments, questions from here at this point?
Not just yet.
Okay. Any comments from the public? And we do note both of your gentlemen's comments in this area.
I got a question about the budget.
You need-
Do you have a printout of all the departments' budget
That is on,
and their expenditures for this past year?
all our budgets are online on the hazeusa.com. So I can email you.
Are all the budgets zeroed out?
That's what the transfer to the, we send to the reserves, so, but
I don't believe they spend to zero because they're required by an ordinance that was placed years ago, if I remember right, that anything left over gets transferred to a reserve account to pay for things in cash, so we don't have to
Commission.
bond
Right.
debt.
Commission capital
Or in
reserve.
some funds, it rolls over to next year.
Okay.
Some of the budget? So any excess funds at the end of 1 year?
They either go to reserve to lessen requirements in the following years, or they get rolled over into the following years as cash to start the year with.
Operating under a use it or lose it budget.
No,
Oh, God, no.
absolutely not. We've never done that. No.
that's that commission capital reserve. We have 18 million in expenditures, but 850,000, well, actually 2.2 million is going to reserve, so we don't have to.
That's what we use to pay cash for all the major projects we're doing.
So 32nd, 33rd rebuild, 1.8 million, that's what they pay
That'll be
cash for
cash.
it, not bond it.
And those two items that you had on there, you said there was no money gonna be involved, but, one budget item was, one construction was for 5 million, the other was for 8, is that correct?
Yeah, 5 million is to extend infrastructure to property that the city owns at exit 161, and 8 million is for the police station, which the city commission purchased Astor Bank.
The remodel.
We'll remodel Astor Bank instead of building a new facility.
That probably won't start till 26 or later, will it?
We hope to have a design build firm under contract in late this year. With design happening, construction will start in 25. It'll probably wrap up in 26.
Astra hasn't turned any dirt over yet out there, so that's not gonna happen overnight.
Right.
And then they've gotta make the transition.
Yeah, those projects aren't actually in the budget. I just presented that they will be in
They're
the
not in
future.
the budget, that's what I.
Right.
Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you, Colin. Any other comments? If not, I'll motion, oh, go ahead.
Kim, I have a question. I know on, I think January 1st, the grocery tax from the state is going to zero, correct?
I believe that,
But the city will still maintain is it 2%?
so the city's 175.
And that will,
Right.
and that's just our general or regular sales tax, right?
I think it's all the local. So just take out the 6.5 from the state.
Right.
True.
So,
So county,
That county
school
school
district.
district,
that would all stay on.
that all stay.
I was just curious, because I know that's gonna happen, but that won't have any negative effect on us. That's more state.
Okay, only if there's no, oh,
Sorry, I was going to ask a few more
Commissioner
questions.
Reeder,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay, so of the 25 mills that we levy, 7 of those go to the library. Is that statutorily required that they get 7?
No, the city of Hayes has a charter ordinance that passed at one point.
Yeah, it's
Long time
statutory for those funds to be levied. So right now you have a charter ordinance in place that says they can ask for 6 mills for operations and 1 mill for employee benefits.
Okay.
And so right now you couldn't deny that unless you wanted to go change the charter ordinance. And that's been in place for as long as I can remember.
Okay. So we have 18 mills that we fund the rest of the levies on, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Which bond and interest is about 3.5 of those 18. Is that right?
One moment, please.
You had that on one of your.
I have it in percentage.
3.427 is
3.427, okay. Which we have to pay debt. We can't not pay debt.
correct.
Okay, so then that leaves employee benefits, 11.273 of the 15 remaining.
Correct.
Airport at 1.5 and public safety at 2, which is the max we can do for public safety.
Correct.
So if we were to go to revenue neutral, 24.124, is that what you said?
Yep.
4.116.
116. Okay. That would require us to eliminate of the 15 available mills, how many dollars?
Well, it'd be basically 1 mil, so 307,308,000.
Okay. So 307,000. So we levy 461 for the airport. So that would cut the entire airport essentially out. Public safety equipment, obviously I'd
Cut it in half.
cut it in half. And employee benefits, which a lot of them are required by state that they're increasing.
The retirement portion is.
Retirement portions and whatnot, and health insurance, we have no control over the rates. We shop around every year, which Erin does a good job of keeping those as low as she possibly can.
They even went down once.
They've gone down a couple
gone
of
down
times.
before.
couple of
Yeah, so
times,
we've
yeah.
been-
We do a good job of shopping health insurance
Yep.
around to keep it.
And
So-
our staff is very good about utilization.
Yes. So, basically, if what we would have to eliminate to remain revenue neutral would be get rid of the airport, get half public safety equipment gone, or just, I don't know how you can cut employee benefits without cutting employees. And we actually have fewer employees than we did in 2020, right? Because we had almost 190.
We
at
do.
one point.
We're at 183 full-time equivalents in this budget, and a few years ago, we had 180.
Because we've done a lot of consolidations to kind of keep that down. So I'm,
We topped out at 191 at one point.
191, and we're down to 183 now. I'm just trying to math it out. If that makes sense. I mean, it's
To be able to remain revenue neutral.
yeah, that's
find
just
it.
remain. That's
Yeah.
not even go below.
Well, I look, Commissioner Reuter, I looked at that, to me, I guess one of the easiest things, you cut the, street maintenance. I mean, that'd be a huge loss if we did that, because we.
They'll line up out front.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but when I first got on here, we were so far under, I mean, every year we were going, I can't remember what it was, Toby, we were.
Trying to get way more than $1 million to
Right,
catch up.
and we were like at
But that doesn't-
700,000.
But we don't get those funds from property tax.
No, not property.
We get
That's
that
true.
from
I'm
sales.
sorry.
and
I'm
we-
talking,
we-
you're right.
That's general
We can't
fund.
control that. Sales
right.
tax is all
That's right.
voted by citizens.
Yep.
Yep.
So the only thing that we can control are those 4 things that we would have to eliminate. Because we're in a weird position being sales tax driven.
Exactly. We're the only one in the state of Kansas. And we still believe that to be the effective way to run our government.
Well, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
for us,
Best
it's
way.
working. I mean,
Absolutely.
for our bonded interest to be as low as it actually is, because we pay for everything in cash, because we don't run a zero-sum budget.
Right.
We put everything back like I would do with my funding at home. What I have left over, I put into savings. So when I have a rainy day, a bridge needs replaced, something like that, we don't have to say, oh, well, we're going to take on $15 million in
Right.
debt. We're going to just pay for it in cash because we planned appropriately.
Right.
And our preventative street maintenance program that we do allows us to, focus on the infrastructure that's there. So it's not a drive it into the ground and, oh, do we need to close it or do we need to spend $80 million to replace this? That's how I would run things. At my house, I know my air conditioner is getting old. I'm setting aside stuff because as soon as it goes out, I'd rather it not be a surprise because I know air conditioners probably aren't going to be getting cheaper anytime soon. I don't know of anything that you purchase that goes down. I mean,
At the current assessment, to raise 15.8 million in the operating budget of the general fund, you'd need 51 more mills.
51. So we'd go from 25 to 76 if we switch back to a property tax.
I mean, it's really the fact that we have such a pull factor means that we can actually get enough sales tax to operate the city so that we can keep the property tax a lot lower and use it for just a specific set of funds like the library and the employee benefits and public safety equipment. If we didn't have a big pull factor, if we were at 1 or below 1, then we'd probably flip over and say, we're not going to run off of sales tax, we're going to run off of property tax, and we'd have to increase our property tax a lot. So the fact that we have a pull factor that allows us to operate off of sales tax is what allows us to keep the property tax mill levy flat and as low as Colin was showing it, 12th lowest in the state.
Exactly, but the 1.49 is, I'm not comfortable at all with that. And I don't think our pull factor will increase unless we keep doing what we're doing in this community. With housing, our next retail project, the things that we're committing to, the streets.
Correct.
We have a wonderful city. It's very well run. It was well run before we were on commission. We've had great commissioners, balance the budget and use cash, and staff is to be congratulated.
Yeah, and we one of the things that I appreciate too is if we do have to bond things, like when we did AMI because it's a large project or whatever, we didn't just take it on willy-nilly.
Right.
We paid something else off first
Right.
before you took on additional debt.
I think the police station's a good example of that. The commission waited for bond debt to drop off to add the future debt of the police station. So you can, essentially it's like paying off your mortgage and then going out and buying a car instead of having two loans.
Yes.
So you could do that without having to raise bond and interest levy to pay for that.
And our bonded interest levy is one of the lowest in the state also.
Right.
I mean, it's because we use cash and we don't have the issues like we saw in some other places like Emporia or where they had major street problems that they were not prepared for because they had not kept the maintenance up. And all of a sudden, boom, we have a big bond that we have to do immediately.
Well, I think
So
I think even the city of Manhattan's running into something like that too.
So
It's
And I
it's
think-
bad.
I think it shows that the city has been physically responsible, that we have been able to, 16 years, is that what you showed? Keep the mill levy consistent. We've not had to raise it. And I just think that proves that the city has done a good job to be able to keep that consistent.
We just have to make sure that we fix the economic issue that we have with housing. Because I know when I bought my house in 2020, because I could not pass up that 2% interest rate. I've got 4 kids now, and my house has gone up like crazy amount. I've got 2 houses for sale next to me. One of them is almost $500,000, and
But we can't control that.
I can't
We don't
control
control that.
But
Sales
all
of
we
property
can do
controls
is
that.
continue doing things like we've done
Right.
with the Grove and Tallgrass, and incentivize the market to grow houses and increase that supply.
Exactly, exactly.
That-
Because this market sales are what drive the value of property, and we know what's happening with that.
But was it 2008, Toby, that's before I was on here, when we had a downturn? Is that right, 2008? Is that the year where valuations?
Yeah, we've had
dipped?
a couple years where, we've had a few years where assessed valuations were either flat or negative.
But we didn't raise the mill levy, or
No.
they didn't raise the mill
No,
levy at
we
that time.
found ways to deal with it.
And if I'm remembering right, Kim, the idle funds that we have, if I read the reports right, they're thinking they might hover around 4.5 by the end of the year. Is that right?
Or investments.
Investments,
The interest rate?
yes,
Yeah.
Right.
which is, I
Can't
mean,
control
not
that
not
either,
what it,
but-
not what it was before,
But it's
it
better
seems
than
like
the
that's
0.25.
yeah, absolutely, from what it was. And I mean, I appreciate everything you do with our investments and stuff like that. You're constantly looking at things like that too. I don't know. I don't know of. What am I trying to say here?
Where we cut.
Yeah, where do we cut?
Yeah, what would we not want?
He
Well,
doesn't have
I
an
mean,
answer, I
if
think.
you were to ask me what to cut, I would say I wouldn't recommend a cut because you're going to harm either operations or pass a charter ordinance to cut the library. It would be subsidized with general fund money to cut. I mean, if you're happy with the airport, it's not sustainable now, given the regulatory environment. When we look at our future forecasting, it's going to be tough to maintain the fire and police vehicles with the 2 mills we have.
Well, and it sounds like a lot of our major things outside of taking care of our own personal infrastructure, stormwater building, FAA requirements, things like that are a large portion of what we have to spend just keeping up with regulatory environments at the state and federal level.
Right.
That's a really important statement, I think. And I think we need to take it all the way down to back to our staff. How many times do we buy a new truck or a new dump truck or anything else before its life instead of it lasting 4 years past what the life was?
Since I've been on here, we've never bought anything
Never.
that was less than its extended life.
Right. And it was extensively longer, 2, 3, 4 years longer than it was supposed to last.
Yes.
And that's again staff taking care of our equipment, which takes care of our dollars at this desk.
Yes, and if the federal government ran like
Yeah, wouldn't it be
the
nice?
local government ran, man, we'd be set. But yeah, it is its staff that is managing this. That they're taking what the citizens voted on for our sales tax rates, taking those funds, putting them into reserves, taking projects and paying for them in cash, and then utilizing what we buy to the best of their ability as long as humanly possible. It's a phenomenal feat to be able to do that. And it's those, I mean, our staff is also City of Hayes citizens.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they're doing this to themselves. So it's not like they're saying, yeah, I would love to have this. And I also love paying taxes. I've never heard anybody say that.
I would love to tell you my property tax has gone down. I don't get to do that.
Yeah, I've never had that happen to me, but that would be, I mean, just from going over these last few months, since we first got the budget in June, early June, something like that. I mean, we've obviously been talking about it before, but seeing it in person and the way our budget is set up, when you go back through and actually read it and you see each department, and then each section goes by and tells you how many people there are, what the change was from the year before,
And why it was.
and then significant changes from the previous budget and why they're needed. I mean, it's
It's all there.
And I think our budget is very easy to read.
It is.
I mean, you don't have to have a degree to read our budget. And I would, I know you asked if this is in paper. I would happily give this to you if you want to read it. It's online, but if you want, I've got plenty of these at home. I'd be more than glad to let you read through it. I think it's very simple to read. But if this works better for you and you want to read it and dissect it and,
I have one as
we're
well.
serving you. We're not, it's not just for us. I would be more than glad to give this to you.
Yeah, and I don't make budget decisions.
And I'm not saying that to be smart, but I would be more than glad to help you out.
And I don't make budget decisions lightly because it's going to affect me.
That's right.
It affects me, my family, my neighborhood, the rest
Affects
of the
all of
community.
us.
But I ran because I wanted this community to be safe, functionable, and grow smart. And I believe we've done that. And I believe we're doing that. And we're doing it because of budgets like this. Because there are some nightmare budgets around the state. This is not one of them.
Mason, I had a customer in my store today, and she was just blown away how clean our town was, and it just felt safe. And she's seen City of Hayes people doing some work on some broken up cement, and she's from Alabama, and she said, "Well, they just don't do that." things that are broke, it just stays broke. And, you know, we do it, we pay for it, and I don't think we overspend. You know, we take care of our community, and outsiders notice that. And I think most of our residents, I mean, that's what they expect out of us. And I think we've all done a good job. City staff does an unbelievable job on managing the funds, doing stuff when they can, and I think they expect us to continue that.
They manage it beautifully. Excuse me, Mr. Cunningham, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that's really important that those maintenance programs we have, like the street maintenance, even the sewer maintenance, even though you can't visibly see that, that's what helps attracts people to our community, not only to shop, but to want to move here and stay here. So I think they're really important pieces.
And they do. We had a couple from Florida, and they were up because they wanted to come visit us.
Yeah.
And so, and they weren't just fleeing flooding waters. They had already planned their
They
trip to
wanted
be
to
up
be
here.
here.
They wanted to be up here. And another point is that one of the things that as we've talked about, the city does a really good job with, that the staff does an amazing job, is 9 times out of 10, when we are looking at a project, the bids come in below what we had budgeted. There's 10% of the time we go, oh darn, we didn't quite budget correctly, and the bids come in over. But
Or sometimes we make them rebid because it didn't come
or we
in
make them
what we
rebid. But most of the time, the bids come in below what we actually had budgeted, and I think that's sort of a testament to the way the city staff looks at things,
And we stay local a lot of
and we
times.
stay local with keeping the money. Oftentimes, yeah, local.
Absolutely.
And ask the local contractors how busy they are right now. They're all, not really, but they're kind of complaining they're too busy, and that's, I think, a good problem to have.
You know, keeping it, the revenue neutral is so important, is because I think we could make a real case for increasing mills. And we don't choose to do that. I think from an economic development standpoint, that's something to consider. I would love to give Jeff Boyle every dollar he wants to have the parks that we should have in a community like this. And he takes the best possible care of those parks you can.
It does.
There's just no more dollars. I'm proud of the work that's been done and ready to move forward. Any other comments?
Take one from the public.
Sure.
Got a comment and a question. I was reading an article about revenue neutral meetings a couple of weeks ago. They said, one of the things you have to watch out for when you go to your different board meetings is, and Ms. Cunningham, you're talking about maintaining that 25 mills for 16 years. It said, your boards will all say, we haven't raised our mill levy in so many years. No, you haven't. You don't have to, because the property tax valuation jack it up. To give you an idea, the difference between the property tax collected in 23 and the property tax collected in 24, there's a $5 million increase, $5,270,000. That was the increase. Can I weigh in on this?
Certainly.
I think we're dealing with two distinct issues, and I want to make sure you're aware of this. The market is set, the assessed valuation is determined by the market. What a willing buyer is willing to pay a willing seller for the property. So a high assessed valuation is a reflection of a healthy market. Do we benefit from that? Yes, we do. Now, if we do things to make investments, we benefit from that. As we add property, we benefit from that. Assessed valuations is not just Sandy and I's house going up. It's new property added too, goes to that. So as you're making investments in the community, encouraging new properties to open up, you receive more money than that. Now, could there become time when you receive so much in excess of what you need that you might think about lowering it? Absolutely, it's a possibility. Are we there from my recommendation standpoint? No, we're not right there, because we have cost increase that we have to deal with too. You know, and a pickup that I bought 10 years ago for $23,000 is now costing me $55,000 or $60,000 to replace. Okay, I mean, I can go down the line and talk about, you know, how this has increased. So that's on the assessed valuation side. the revenue neutral is a fallacy. And I'm going to say that because it may sound good year to year, but it's not sustainable long term. In 1956, we funded a police department for $65,000. If you were to take the revenue neutral philosophy, we would still be spending $65,000 to fund the Hayes Police Department. We can't do that. Okay? So it sounds good year to year. It is not good long term. It doesn't make sense unless you're in an environment where costs do not increase.
Well said.
That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Musil, seconded by Commissioner Reuter. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The resolution's on the screen.
Mayor, I do need to interrupt. The resolution, or the motion that's on the screen is incorrect. If you could please make the motion from the agenda item cover sheet. We need to, statute's very clear on this. We need to state the neutral rate in that motion. So in the agenda item cover sheet, the action requested is what we would ask for, please. Sorry.
So I move. Tell me if I'm.
This is
saying
the,
right.
we're doing the revenue neutral resolution
Okay.
now.
So I move to approve resolution number 2024-026 by roll call vote to exceed the revenue neutral rate of 24.116 mils in its property tax levy for the tax year of 2024, budget year 2025.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Reuter, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham. I'll need a roll call vote for this, please. I'll call on Commissioner Musil for your vote. Yes.
Yes.
It has to be by roll call,
Okay.
101, I'm sorry.
And it's yes or no, correct?
Right, it's yes or no.
That's what I thought.
Commissioner Barrett?
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Yes.
Commissioner Reuter?
Yes.
Mayor Jacobs, yes. It's passed 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thanks for bringing that to us. I'd also like to open the public hearing now for the budget. Am I staying on task here? Okay, good.
Take comments if anybody.
Without any presentation of any kind. Okay, any other comments on the budget? If not, I'll take a motion in a second.
Make a motion to approve the 2025 budget for the
Oh,
city.
gotta close.
Need to close.
I'm sorry.
I had it so.
I'll make a motion to close the budget.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Musil, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham to close the public hearing. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now, Kim,
25 budget, please.
very good.
Make a motion to approve the 2025 budget for the city of Hayes.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Musil, seconded by Commissioner Barrick. Any other comments?
Good budget.
We've been looking at it for
Long time.
a long time. We've actually made some changes to it, and I think the staff's done a great job, and it's a great budget.
Great.
All
All in
thank you for
favor,
your work.
please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Commission inquiries and comments. That part I got. Commissioner Musil.
It's easier over there when you just listen instead of have to come up. No, I just thank you, commissioners, for all your comments tonight. Commissioner Reuter, I think you had some very valid comments, and I think we got a good budget and a lot of good things going on in 2025. And one thing about Hayes is we don't stop. And we all know the economy is a little soft right now, and maybe we get this presidential election over and things will change, hopefully. But that's all I got.
Thank you. Commissioner Barrick.
Yes, I just, again, appreciate what Mayor Musil has done. And, with everyone here, I think we've really done it's been fun. It's been a fun couple of years. And when I first got onto the commission, I was not expecting it to be, I expected to learn a lot, and be a little bit interesting, but it's been an enjoyable process. And so that's thanks to the city staff that we get to interact with, and also the rest of the commissioners. So I'm just looking forward to the next fiscal year.
Very good. Commissioner Cunningham.
I want to say thank you to those who decided to come with public comments. Really appreciate that. Want you to know that you are heard. And I hope with the data that was presented, it kind of shows that the city is being physically responsible. So I think the staff have worked really hard on this budget, and like Commissioner Barrick said, we've made a few changes, and I think it's a great budget moving forward. So that is all I've got.
Commissioner Reuter.
Sean, I wanted to thank you for your time that you served as mayor. I know you've been doing this for quite a many years now. Thanks for not putting a pandemic on this time.
Thank you.
It is, and congratulations to
Thank
Mayor
you.
Jacobs.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to thank staff for all the hard work that you guys have done putting this together. I know that there's a lot of things on a wish list, but you guys know what you're looking for, what you need to make sure we operating efficiently and keeping the community safe. I know making the decision for the budget, I'll go home tonight, look at my 4 kids, and know that I did something that hopefully I'm paying for now, and some taxes stabilize in the future, that they don't have to worry about. They didn't take care of me when I was a kid. They actually put money aside, they kept the community going, and I invested in the future. It's caused me to tighten my belt personally at home, but I think in the long run for them, they're going to appreciate what Hayes has done for me since I've been here. 2026, the Reuter family will have been in Hayes for 150 years.
That's pretty cool.
And
You gonna have a party?
we are.
Good for you.
There's not many of us left, but
That's pretty cool.
But we love this community, and I really hope that it continues on as long as it has and the way it's gone. I mean, we're very lucky with what we have here in Hayes. I've traveled a lot across this country, visited a lot of different communities, and it's funny the people you run into that have been here, and it's always a positive experience unless we beat them in a sport, which that's fine too.
It happens.
But thank you guys for focusing, working hard, doing what you need to do, and keeping us without running for wants. We're running on needs, and we're keeping the pedal to the metal to keep growing.
Very good.
That's all I
Thank
have.
you.
Thanks.
Commissioner Musil,
Hey,
you
I-
had additions?
Sorry, I just want to, first of all, congratulate you on being mayor, and you've done this before, and, you're a great mayor, but I think we're a great team. We all bring different personalities, different, I don't know if agenda's the right word, different ideas to when we come to these meetings, but, like we said earlier, we get things done because we can all get on the same page, and, a lot of times we end up having 5-0 votes because we work it out at a work session, and that's what people don't see. There's many times where we ask to have stuff taken out or changed because of different opinions, or we hear more, or somebody else has done more research, or somebody's contacted us and we did our research. So thank you guys all for being a great team, and Sandy, you're a great mayor, and good luck to you.
Thank you. I echo everything they've said, and from this seat, you'll be happy to know, and those of you that know me before, don't talk nearly as much as when I was down in those seats. So
It is different.
It is different. That's true. It's going to be my goal to bring that pull factor back up. 1.49 is not acceptable for this community, and I think everything that we're doing is going to continue to grow. My goal will get it back up to 1.8% at some point. I encourage people. Somebody made a comment about how much work. Oh, that was you. Commissioner Musil, we do a lot of work in work sessions, and I really wish people would come and sit in and listen to those work sessions and then give us input about it, whether it's during the session or later. We get a lot done in those sessions, and we're really proud of it. I'm extremely proud of this group. I would have run for office a whole long time ago had I not had a long career, but I'm glad I didn't, because I wouldn't have been with all of these guys. I think the 5 of us are making good decisions for this community. I think that we're trying to take every citizen's comments into consideration when we do make those decisions. And I think we're so smart to keep the staff in place that we have.
Absolutely.
Appreciate everything that you do, Toby, and everything that your staff does. And Colin, I'm going to say it even though I'm not supposed to. That's a hell of a good budget.
It
You really did a wonderful job, and your ability to share that with us the way you did. And if you don't believe this commission reads those budgets, you heard all the questions tonight. We spent a lot of time on them, and we get all the questions asked, and we feel good when we vote.
One thing about the budget.
Absolutely.
The budget's a compilation of the work of a lot of city employees, but Colin's the
Colin's the
leader
man.
of the orchestra. So he does deserve all the kudos for putting it together.
And you really have done a great job, Colin. It was very easy to work with. Thank
I,
you so
I just
much.
want to mention one thing. I'm going to take a slight exception to Commissioner Reuter. He said, we're lucky to be in this community, or the way it is. I don't think that we're lucky. I think we intentionally have
We
made
did.
the community
We're
what it is, and we are able to, we benefit from being able to live in such a good community because we have intentionally, as business owners, as school workers, as hospital workers, as city staff, and as a commission, we have worked to make this city what it is. And I think it's been intentional. I don't think it was, sometimes luck is preparation meeting opportunity, and I think we've been prepared. So
I totally agree.
I'll accept that challenge.
And Mayor Jacobs, I have one goal for you, to get that darn water project done this year.
I'd
Please.
like, before I walk out, I'd like it to be done,
I
so
would
I'm
too.
on.
Or at least started would be
Yeah,
awesome.
at least started.
Toby, that's on you.
We all need to maintain our passion for this community and its residents. I know we all hear from people all the time, and we need to continue doing that. I've lived in this community my whole life, which is longer than all of yours, and maybe I could put a couple of you together and it'd still be longer than a couple of those. I've been passionate. I've volunteered in this community for the last 50 years, and I'll continue, and I encourage every one of you to continue doing that as well. Any executive session? Anything else? Meeting is adjourned. Oh, here he comes with his book.